Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the John Graves Show. This week in Kuroko's basketball, honestly, I will say this: that the Yosin game is honestly seeming like one of the more difficult games in which that Saren actually has to like go up against. Well, now mostly because it's like the entire field of their play style has been, or possibly leading up to this entire time, it has been centered around the fact of them having the thing of them being fast-paced games and not necessarily like defense-heavy games in which that they would have to focus way more on defense than necessarily like offense, or possibly at the very least. Because they kind of had like a slight change ever since like Tepe kind of like came back and kind of like joined their team. And for this week, it is honestly the biggest thing ever because Yosin as a team, most of their 3 out of their starting 5 is actually like taller than most of the people in Saren. And this isn't necessarily, and also Murasaki Bar, even though most of the time, his only job is to stay under the basket. So honestly, we do have like just 2 other members who are at this point just locking down Tepe and Kagami, and there's nothing that they can really, or at least like there's barely anything in which that they can do about it. They do something in terms of Tepe, like actually in the middle of after Kuroko, he does kind of present his vanishing shot, which is something which that yes this is a thing in which that he mastered himself after he gave him some tips upon how to shoot. Instead of trying to do a textbook, you're supposed to shoot your own way. In other words, using his palm instead of using his fingertips, because you know, if he uses his palm, that's when he made that shot, which no one can stop at the moment. And honestly, these episodes do honestly center around the whole thing of defense, whereas the last game kind of centered around them keeping up like a steady pace in offense. This game is kind of centers around the fact of them focusing way more on defense and honestly trying to outmaneuver some of their opponents, even though they're taller than them. And this is shown with Kagami, with him like using textbook basketball, like posting things such as staying low, and using your lower center of gravity to back to actually like guard against taller people, or Tepe actually using his super grip to honestly steal and palm the ball and all that stuff. However, leading into the first quarter of Kuroko's vanishing shot being on mixed in with his vanishing drive is honestly going. Honestly, it does kind of lead up to something to kind of build up a little bit morale, taking them from a 18-0 a loss to I think a 23 to. It was 37 to 21, I believe. I gotta look at it again, but that's kind of the thing for that. In terms of this basketball game, it is honestly starting to heat up because Saren is now down to a system in which that after Kuroko, he does anything, whenever the second quarter starts, he has to be benched, and that is the thing in which that they did pick up upon Yosin and on Saren's team, of basically saying like, yeah, man, most of this game is really going to sit around Kagami and Tepe, because in terms of defense, really stopping Murasaki Bar really isn't going to be easy, or at least like making shots on him really isn't going to be easy. However, it isn't impossible, and it is going to be super difficult to do. And honestly, there is a lot of doubt that, or at least like, or honestly, at the very least, it is a thing in which that like honestly, they do kind of realize is, or at least like one nod that I did honestly like is the fact that they do kind of call back and say like that this is something in which that they can't necessarily just constantly keep on like doing. I mean like Kuroko's abilities, they do work in short bursts and they are super efficient at that. However, it isn't something that makes them unstoppable throughout the entire game. If they were to like have like a steady pace and then like bring him in around like the fourth quarter, then obviously yeah. But as the games go on, it's like most of his abilities, they kind of they are shocking at first, but then there is a large degrade most of his abilities, and they do kind of make a nod to that. I am rambling in this episode a little bit, but honestly, I do think that the next episode, it will honestly kick up a little bit more because again, you know, we do have our ace battle coming up, possibly in the next episode with Kagami versus Tatsuya. So that is something to look forward to. And also there is something in which that Kagami hasn't shown off yet, which Alex she did show him. So that so there is that to look forward to. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next John Grave show. I'm sorry, man, for making this thing 6 minutes long. And hey, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I'm out.